Counselor Elara Veth could rewrite a mind in 17 seconds. She had done it thousands of times. Criminals whose violent urges were smoothed into compliance, dissidents whose rebellious thoughts were gently redirected, witnesses whose inconvenient recollections were simply... The Mnemori Collective considered it a gift. A sacred responsibility. The ultimate tool for maintaining harmony in a civilization that had transcended conflict. So when she was assigned to interrogate the captured human spy, she expected it to be routine. It was not routine. "Your name is Marcus Cole," she stated, settling into the chair across from him in the sterile interrogation chamber. "You infiltrated our agricultural ministry under diplomatic cover. You transmitted classified information to Earth's intelligence services for 14 months. Sounds about right." The human didn't look afraid. He looked amused. "Though I prefer intelligence analyst to spy, less dramatic, the distinction is irrelevant. You will tell me everything you transmitted, everyone who helped you, and every contact you maintained. Then I will remove your memories of this conversation and implant ones more suitable to the collective's needs." Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying her with unsettling intensity. "The memory thing. I've read about that. Then you understand resistance is pointless. I understand you believe that. But here's the thing," he smiled, and something about it made her skin prickle. "I'm not like the minds you're used to handling." Elara extended her consciousness toward him, preparing to breach his mental defenses. She had done this so many times it was almost automatic. Find the pathways, trace the patterns, slip between thoughts like water through sand. She hit a wall. Not a barrier exactly. More like chaos. His mind was a storm of associations, emotions, memories layered over memories, connections that made no logical sense. She pushed harder, trying to find a stable foundation to work from. There was none. "What?" She pulled back, disoriented. "What is wrong with your brain?" Marcus laughed. "Nothing's wrong with it. It's just human." He tapped his temple. "We don't organize memories the way you do. Ours are tied to emotions, to senses, to other memories. You can't edit one without affecting everything it's connected to. And in a human mind, everything is connected to everything. That's impossible. Memory is discrete, containable. For Mnemori, maybe. For us, memory is a web. Pull one thread, the whole thing shifts." His eyes met hers. "Go ahead. Try to take something small. Something you think is isolated. See what happens." Elara knew she should report this. Should request specialized assistance. Should follow protocol. Instead, curiosity got the better of her. She reached into his mind again, more carefully this time, searching for something simple. A childhood memory. A moment with no apparent significance. She found him at age 7, playing in a field of yellow flowers. The sun was warm. The grass was soft. It seemed harmless. She pulled. The field connected to his mother's perfume. The perfume connected to her funeral. The funeral connected to his first experience of grief. Grief connected to a decision to protect others so they wouldn't feel what he felt. That decision connected to his recruitment into intelligence services. The recruitment connected to his current mission. The mission connected to... Elara gasped and withdrew completely, her heart racing. "Told you," Marcus said quietly. "We're not organized. We're not containable. We're a mess of associations and feelings and experiences that can't be separated without destroying the whole." "Then how do I..." She stopped, realizing what she was asking. "Interrogate me." "You don't. Not your way." He leaned forward. "But you could try something radical." "What? Ask me questions? Like a conversation? Build new memories with me instead of stealing old ones?" His smile softened. "You might be surprised what I'm willing to share with someone who treats me like a person instead of a puzzle." She should have ended the session. Should have filed a report on the anomaly and requested reassignment. Instead, Elara returned the next day. And the day after. And every day for the next 3 weeks. "Why intelligence work?" she asked during their 7th session, the professional pretense having faded somewhere around the 4th. "Because I'm good at understanding people, seeing patterns, figuring out what someone needs to hear." Marcus shrugged. "It's not that different from what you do, actually. Just without the psychic shortcuts. I don't understand people. I understand memories." Same thing, isn't it? People are memories. Everything they've experienced, everyone they've loved, every mistake they've made, it all layers together into who they are. He studied her. "When you edit a memory, what do you think you're actually changing?" Elara had never considered the question. Memory manipulation was a tool, a technique. She had been trained in its application, not its philosophy. "I am removing harmful patterns," she said carefully, replacing dysfunction with harmony. "You're rewriting people, taking who they are and making them into someone else." Marcus's voice held no accusation, only curiosity. Has it ever occurred to you that the dysfunction might be what makes them real? Conflict is inefficient. Discord prevents progress. Conflict is also how we grow, how we learn, how we figure out who we are and what we believe. He smiled sadly. A society where everyone agrees isn't harmonious. It's just empty. Elara should have argued, should have defended the principles she had served her entire life. Instead, she found herself thinking about the mind she had edited. The criminals made compliant, the dissidents made agreeable, the witnesses made convenient. How many of them had been real before she touched them? How many were empty now? You're quiet, Marcus observed. I am reconsidering. That's uncomfortable, isn't it? Reconsidering things you've always believed. He reached across the table, a breach of protocol that she should have prevented, and touched her hand. For what it's worth, I don't think you're a bad person. I think you're someone who was given a tool and told it was a gift, and never had anyone help you question what that actually meant. His skin was warm against hers. Human warm, different from Mnemori temperatures. She should have pulled away. She didn't. Why are you being kind to me? She asked. I was sent to violate your mind. You were sent to try. The violate part didn't happen. He smiled. And I'm being kind because you deserve kindness. Because you look at me like I'm a person even though your training tells you I'm an enemy. Because... He hesitated. Because you're the first person in 14 months who has actually listened to me without an agenda. I have an agenda. I am still interrogating you. You stopped interrogating me 2 weeks ago. Now you're just... talking. His thumb traced a circle on her wrist. And I think you know the difference. Elara's training screamed at her to pull back, report the breach, maintain professional distance. Her instincts told her something different. I have never... She struggled for words. I have never been uncertain before. About anything. My purpose was clear. My abilities were defined. My role was established. And now I find myself wanting something I cannot name. Something that exists outside protocols and procedures. She met his eyes. Something that feels more real than anything I have experienced in my entire career. Marcus lifted her hand to his lips, a human gesture she had seen in recordings but never experienced. That's called connection, he said softly. It happens when two people choose to see each other instead of just using each other. Is that what we are doing? Connecting? I think so. Against all odds and better judgment. He smiled. How does it feel? Terrifying. And essential, Taiwan. Yeah. His smile widened. That's about right. The collective discovered them 6 weeks into their connection. Not through surveillance. Elara had disabled those systems early on. Not through reports. She had been filing false progress summaries for weeks. They discovered them because she stopped coming to council meetings, stopped performing routine memory maintenance on the citizens assigned to her, stopped being the perfect servant she had always been. You have been compromised, High Counselor Veth pronounced, his ancient mind pressing against hers with disappointed weight. The human has somehow infected you with his chaos. He has not infected me. Elara stood in the center of the collective's chamber, surrounded by minds far older and more powerful than her own. Marcus was held in an adjacent room, separated from her by walls that blocked even memory telepathy. He has shown me something I was not permitted to see. And what is that? That our gift is not a gift. It is a prison. We contain and control because we fear what we cannot understand. We edit minds because we cannot tolerate minds that think differently. She raised her chin. And we have been wrong. The chamber erupted in telepathic outrage, a storm of denial and condemnation that battered at her defenses. Silence. Veth's command cut through the chaos. He studied Elara with eyes that had watched civilizations rise and fall. You claim to have found truth in a human's chaos. But truth is order. Truth is harmony. Truth is the careful arrangement of thought toward productive ends. Truth is what remains when you stop arranging it. Elara thought of Marcus, his storm of memories, his web of associations, the beautiful mess that made him who he was. You cannot manipulate truth. You can only discover it. And what truth have you discovered? That I love him. The words came out before she could stop them. That in 8 weeks, I have formed memories with him that I cannot edit, cannot contain, cannot separate from myself without ceasing to be who I have become. She could manipulate memories but not the ones we made together, because those memories are not stored in my mind. They are my mind. They are who I am now. Veth was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with something she had never heard from him before. You understand what you are saying. That you are beyond our reach. That you have chosen to become something we cannot control. Yes. And you accept the consequences. If the consequence is exile, then yes. If the consequence is remaining here without him, she shook her head. That is no consequence. That is erasure. And I would rather be exiled as myself than remain as whatever you would make me. Varric rose, his ancient form towering over the assembled counselors. The human will be released. Return to his people. The intelligence he transmitted is irrelevant. We will change our protocols, render his information obsolete. He looked at Elara. You will go with him. High Counselor. Someone protested. Silence. Varric's eyes held something that might have been respect. She has discovered something our entire civilization has lost. The ability to form memories that cannot be edited. The capacity for connection that transcends control. He turned to address the full assembly. We fear the humans because their minds were chaos. But perhaps chaos is not weakness. Perhaps it is freedom. He looked at Elara one final time. Go. Build memories we cannot touch. And perhaps, someday, send word of what you learn. The transport to human space took 17 days. Elara spent most of it with Marcus, forming new memories, shared meals, shared conversations, shared silence. Each one wove itself into the web of her consciousness, connecting to the others, becoming part of something larger than any single moment. You gave up everything, he said on the final night before arrival. Your people, your abilities, your entire life. I gained everything. She traced the lines of his face, memorizing them with eyes instead of telepathy. I gained you. I gained memories that are truly mine. I gained the ability to be something other than a tool. Most people would say that's not a fair trade. Most people have never been a tool. She kissed him, another skill she had learned from him, another memory being formed. You taught me that connection is worth more than control, that loving someone changes you in ways you cannot undo. And you're okay with that? Being changed in ways you can't undo? Elara thought about who she had been 8 weeks ago. A counselor. A servant. A mind that moved through other minds, without leaving or taking anything real. She thought about who she was now. A woman. A lover. A being whose memories were messy, chaotic, beautifully tangled with someone else's. I am more than okay, she said. I am free. Marcus pulled her close, and she felt the warmth of him, human warmth. Unpredictable and alive. So what happens now? He asked. We arrive at Earth. Then what? Then we build a life. We form memories. We become so tangled together that no one could ever separate what's mine from what's yours. That sounds messy. It sounds human. She smiled against his chest. I am learning to appreciate messy. What about your abilities? I can still touch minds, but I no longer wish to edit them. She pulled back to meet his eyes. I have discovered that the most important memories cannot be manipulated. They can only be made, together. Marcus kissed her forehead. You know, for a former mind controller, you're remarkably good at saying exactly the right thing. I had a good teacher. Oh, who's that? A chaotic, messy, impossible human who showed me that control is not strength. She smiled. And that the memories worth keeping are the ones we make together. The transport dropped out of hyperspace, and Earth filled the view screen, blue and green and swirling with clouds. Chaotic. Messy. Alive. Home, Elara thought. A new word for a new life. Marcus took her hand as they began their descent. And somewhere in her mind, in the tangled web of memories that could never be edited or contained, a new thread began to weave itself. The thread of a future built one moment at a time, with someone who had taught her that connection was worth more than control. She could still manipulate memories. But she never would again. Because the ones that mattered, the ones that were truly hers, were the ones she had made with him. And those could never be touched.